I wanted to share with you what's going on in the world of email marketing. Now, for some of you, you may say, well, email marketing, it doesn't really do well for us, or we send it out, but, we don't get much from it. In the world of email, it's about doing lots of little things correctly and testing lots of little things. It's not where you can do one thing and email is just going to work for you. Okay, so everything we talk about today is all about testing. Some of the things that we're going to talk about may work for you, some of them may not. And you're going to say to yourself, well, I'm in this very difficult market. We market to pharmacies or labs or whatever it may be, and it's a very difficult market. Everybody's market is very, very difficult. And yours is the same thing as everybody else's, which is you're marketing to human beings. And that's what we need to think about. So I want to take you through some trends that are happening right now that you can go and try. Nothing I'm going to talk about today is going to cost you $1 to try. Any platform can do what we're talking about, and it's easy to implement. So let's talk about the first thing. And I see this in your guys' market quite a bit. When you send out your emails, a lot of the products and services that you guys are promoting are complicated sometimes or have a lot of information that needs to be shared. So invariably, when you're sending out your emails, what do? You're including a lot of words. But guess what? When you are trying to get something sold or somebody to engage with your emails, people generally don't care about what you're emailing, right? Nobody has time. No one has time to do anything. We don't have time for lunch. We don't have time to call a friend. We have time for nothing. And the last thing that we have time for is to read your super long, boring email. So we did a whole big study recently on how many words in an email. The green bars here are B2B emails, so if you're marketing to those pharmacies, and the blue bars are consumer. That if you're sending out an email that's offer related, what is the optimal number of words to have that email to keep your click-through rate, how often people are clicking, the highest? And what we found is keeping it less than 100 words is where you need to be. Anything over that, it starts to fall off a cliff. When you look at these two emails, right, who cares what they're about? It's irrelevant. The one on the left looks super boring, and the one on the right is like, oh yeah, I could digest that information. No paragraph, no block of text should have more than 3 lines. Lots of bulleted stuff. Every bulleted item should start hopefully with a number or a stat of some kind. You have to keep it interesting. Even though you have a lot to say, nobody actually cares. And we see it over and over again with all of the data, keeping it simple. We saw an interesting study that Constant Contact came out with recently that talked about how many images should actually be in an email to yield the highest click-through rate. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work for everything, because a lot of times maybe you have multiple images you need to show for the specific thing that you're sending out. But the name of the game here, what they found was that one image actually yielded the highest click-through rate. More importantly than it being one image, really thinking about every piece of the email that you're sending out, everything's a variable. Everything is going to impact performance. Okay, so if you're just saying, oh, I just got it out, thank God I got it out, it got approved, legal and compliance approved it, we got the creative done, let's just get it out. You're not doing email marketing. You're just checking the box, right? Testing the number of words, testing the images, testing all of it. This is what matters. So a lot of things in email are small little wins that add up to a big potential change in your overall response. I'll give you an example. A lot of times, when we think about email marketing, we're just going through the motions. What do I mean by that? When any of us are setting up an email campaign, what do we all do, right? Okay, we're going to get the email out on Thursday. Let's have it go out at 8 a.m., at 2 p.m., at 11 a.m. Nobody ever says, let's have it go out at 11:05, 2:12, 4:15. We don't say that because we're just not thinking about every moving part. Over 80% of all email campaigns are sent out on the hour because that's how we're wired. 70% of all email traffic, when it's coming into everybody's inbox, occurs within the first 10 minutes of every hour. Why on earth do we want our email showing up at the same time as everybody else's? That's a fail. These little tests sending it out at 7:15, at 7:30, at 8:25, whatever it may be. Email campaigns that are not sent out on the hour have an increased open rate of about 22%. When I say open rate, what do I mean? If you send out 50,000 emails, okay, and 10,000 people open up your email, you have a 20% open rate. A lot of times marketers will be like, oh my God, I have this great offer, it's going to do so well. Oh, we have the best email creative, we have the best copy, it's going to do so well. The name of the game is not having the best offer, creative, time of day, any of that. You need the best subject line, okay? Because if your email doesn't get open, if you don't increase that open rate, who cares what's in your email? Who cares, right? So that open rate is a critical metric in what's going to decide whether or not your emails get read or not. So when you look at little things like this about sending on the hour or not sending on the hour, this is the type of stuff that really seems small, could be a big impact on your performance. All right, this next slide is going to be epically ugly. Let's talk about epically ugly. Oh my God, this one's like anxiety-inducing, terrible, terrible slide, but it's super important because the majority of you listening in today are what I call B2B marketer, right? You're marketing to other businesses, not consumers. And in the world of B2B marketing, business-to-business marketing, email marketing specifically, but you could apply this to just about all of your different marketing channels because we're seeing it hold true. We do a study every single month. And what we look for is email campaigns that go out the door that are promoting a particular piece of content, some sort of piece of content as their offer, and they're mentioning it in the subject line, okay? And what are the average open rates of those emails? So what we're trying to see is what is the interest of people receiving emails based on the content, based on the type of promotion, the offer that's being promoted. So for example, and we do it every month, if you look at this blue dot here, right, this is webinar content. Let's say your offer is a webinar. A year ago at this time, the average open rates for an email campaign that went on the door that mentioned a webinar were about 27%. They have dropped all the way down to 18%. So if you're sitting there as a marketer and say, I don't get it. Last year we were doing webinars and they were doing great. And this year they're not. Is it what happened? Is our system messed up? Do we need better speakers? No, here's the reality of it. Our interests are always changing. What we want to respond to is always changing, right? We got inundated with webinars. During the pandemic, it was like a webinar every 5 minutes about what was happening, right? So we have webinar fatigue right now. So we have to understand what are the content offers that are really driving pipeline and lead flow and interest in the B2B world. And so if we look at things, for example, like on demand, which is the green one, right? On demand used to be pretty low, 18%, whatever, a year ago. Now it's up at 24%. On demand is you could go ahead and watch it right now, video content, right? On demand video content, short video content, you can watch whenever you want, is doing great, right? And the nice part is it's even easier to carve that out and make that available. Other things that are not doing well, if you're using an ebook, right, as your offer, good luck to you. Ebooks are boring and they are the bottom feeder of response. Infographics are from 1985, okay? And the things that are doing really well are free guides or industry reports or lists or checklists. I'm going to show you an example of that. One of the other things to think about is what's happening starting next week. Starting next week, the offers that do really well, okay, are outlooks for 2023, believe it or not. It feels so weird. We're in the second half of 2022. So starting next week, the offers that do the best historically are Outlook emails that I'm mentioning 2023 Outlook. That's what we all want to know, or things about the holiday season. You know, here's a Meta or Facebook talking about what's going to happen in the holiday season, right? These are B2B emails talking about what's going to happen in their market in the holiday season. Mentioning that in the subject line boosts open rates by 27%, because all that we want to know is what is going to happen. That's all we ever care about. What's going to happen? Not today, what's going to happen, right? So always trying to stay ahead of the game. When we talk about the offers that are working, ebooks, epically boring. I'm so sorry to tell you, if that's your offer, good luck to you. If you're going to promote an ebook, here's what you don't want to do. Whether it's an ebook, because look, a lot of my clients work with most of the largest brands on the planet. Okay, a lot of my clients, they use webinars, they use ebooks. So they can't abandon this content because they want to use this content. So what do? We don't mention that it's an ebook. We don't mention that it's a webinar in that subject line. What we do is we talk about the topic, right? The learn the latest secrets about whatever, or the benefits of blah, blah, blah. Whatever the topic is, you mention that in your subject line. And then you do an, oh, by the way, it's an ebook. And oh, by the way, it's a webinar. It's not, hey, webinar, sign up in the subject line, because no one's going to open it. Once you get them hooked on the topic, they'll be more interested once they get inside. I mean, look, webinars are boring, time consuming, you fill up your calendar, and they are boring. Other interesting thing about this whole idea of on-demand content, which is doing really well, instead of saying on-demand, what really works is saying watch now. On-demand actually, in our minds, equals old, legacy, archive. Watch now, which is the same thing. You're saying watch now. Actually increases the open rate if you call your content watch now instead of on demand by 27%. And that's when we talk about everything is a variable, right? When you look at your call to action buttons, the buttons that are in your email message. Let's say you have something that you want them to download. Okay, you have a new report, you have a checklist, you have a coupon, I don't care what it is, you want them to download. Does that button say download? Because if it says download, that is you telling them what to do. Instead of you telling them what the thing is, that button, instead of saying download, should say get your free report, get your checklist, get whatever it is, start your whatever. It should be one step closer to converting on the offer. Telling somebody register, download. No, instead of register, save your spot, save your seat. Don't miss out. Right? Think about that call to action button. When you look at this for an on-demand video, if you have watch now instead of on demand with that button, it actually increases click-through by 22%. So these little things have a huge, huge impact. So we were talking before about lists. Lists are phenomenal. They're the best piece of content in B2B marketing. Why? Because when you have nothing to promote, when you don't have a special discount, when you don't have something new offer, a new product, a new whatever, you always have a list. And humanity, we love lists of things. We just like lists. It doesn't make a difference what it's a list of. It could be a list of the worst dress, the best songs, the best fast food places. No one cares about who makes the list. I don't know why. We don't care. We just want to know who's on the list, who's number one, who's last, who was left off. So you can make a list, the 7 important things you need to know, the 4 hot topics of the day, the 6 benefits of this product. It doesn't matter. Increases open rates by 27% when lists is your content. Amazing, right? And it's the cheapest form of content. You can always make a list, right? It makes the person feel like, oh, this is authoritative, right? You know what you're getting out of it. You know it's going to be quick and easy to digest. And then the person walks into a meeting and says, oh, I'm going to tell you about the 3 most important things you need to know. You make the person smarter. So enough about all that content stuff. Let's talk about things that are holding back performance in your email marketing campaigns. I know I talk very fast. I really do. But I want to jam in here as much different test ideas for you. So when you leave here, you're like, that guy Jay was crazy. I don't know what he was talking about, but I got 2 or 3 ideas. I think we should give a try. And maybe they'll give us a boost. And you know what? Some will work and some won't. But then the ones that work, great, they're in your arsenal and you can go back to them. Let's talk about why I hate email marketing experts. And I don't ever proclaim to be one. I hate email marketing experts because inherently they're lazy and they rely on old information when they write articles, when they do webinars, when they do anything. It's all old information. Why do I say that? As marketers or anybody pressing send on an email campaign, you probably have heard the concept of spammy words, of words that you might put in your subject line or your headline or your body copy. They're going to cause you to go to the spam folder or the junk folder. If you put in this word or this character, or you capitalize, or you use exclamation point, use an emoji, you're going to get filtered. And if you Google right now, spam trigger words, spammy words, whatever, you will see hundreds, if not thousands of articles that give you lists like you see here on the screen, 200 words to avoid and trigger words, whatever, and they're nonsense. They're not true. It is a myth. It is a lie. It is old information. Okay, why do I say that? 10, 15 years ago, before technology really started to advance, what happened? Okay, what happened was when you send out an email campaign, all the receiving email networks like 10, 15 years ago, like Earthlink and MSN and Alta Vista and Excite and who cares, right? They were getting inundated with spam by all the bad guys, the Viagra guys, pornography guys, all the bad guys, the fake Viagra guys. And what do they want to do? How do we cut down on it? Let's look for certain words that the spammy guys are using. And whenever we see any email coming with those words or symbols or characters, we're going to stick them in the junk or spam folder. Okay, that happened. So marketers 10, 15 years ago, like, oh my goodness, I can't use these words. Let's make a list of words, things, whatever. And they avoided them all. But the world changed. You don't go to the junk folder or spam folder because the words or the capitalization or the characters in your subject line or your body copy. You go to the spam or junk folder because of the engagement. How many often people are opening, clicking on your emails, right? And the reputation your sending platform has for your IP addresses. You don't go there because of these characters. That is old news, right? It's holding you back. Litmus is one of the leading software tools in the world of email. Okay, it's used by almost every major company on the planet, and they put this on their blog the other day. First, let's bust the number one myth. Spam trigger words are a thing of the past. While spam filters can be triggered for a variety of reasons, specific words alone are rarely the culprit. Email authentication and engagement are much more important, so don't be afraid to use the following. They show the word free in all caps, exclamation points, and then you see here's Marketo, right? They're owned by Adobe, one of the largest platforms in the world. They did a whole write-up here on use the word free, don't be scared, capitalize, because they know that's not why you're getting filtered. So what I'm showing you here is a list of different tactics that you probably have been nervous to do because you're relying on email expert information. And what's going to happen is you're going to leave this session and you're going to go to somebody internally and say, hey, we can now capitalize in our subject line. We are going to use, an emoji. We're going to use exclamation point. We're going to write these different words. Somebody said you can't do that. You're going to go to the junk folder. Here's the secret. 20%, at least 20% of all email will go in the junk or spam folder on almost every send. Doesn't matter if you're Amazon, the NFL, if you're Merck, I don't care who you are. Because of the nature of email marketing and how it all works, at any given moment, there's a lack of engagement, a lack of whatever, and 20% of all emails are going to go in the junk folder. So when one of your messages goes in the junk folder and you have a nervous breakdown because you're like, oh my God, it means everything's in the junk folder, it's the end of the world. No, this is just doing business in the world of email. It happens every day. Some of your email will go to junk. It's going to happen, but it's not because you put the word free in the subject line, right? So free in the subject line will lift your open rates B2B, business to business, that's you guys, up 24%. If you use brackets in the subject line, you put brackets around the offer to start your subject line, whatever your offer is, lifts your open rates by 18%, exclamation point, up 12%, numbers, 21%, emojis, yes, emojis in B2B email marketing, 21%, capitalization, 17%. The irony of life is that the very things that you're avoiding because you supposedly will go in the junk folder or the spam folder are actually going to cause you to get more people to open your emails. When more people open your emails, guess what happens? Your engagement goes up and the likelihood of you staying in the inbox because you have more engagement goes higher. So the very things that people are telling you to avoid, okay, are actually the things that are going to keep you in the inbox. Irony. So these are just a lot of examples of from B2B marketers doing exactly what we talked about. When you capitalize something, you can't capitalize a whole subject line. That's annoying. Capitalize that first word. The most important thing you do, anything related to the subject line, is at the start of your subject line. If you're going to do capitalization or brackets or a critical word, mention your offer in those first few characters. If you have a list, make sure that number is that first character. That first character is everything. Okay, so when Meta, right, they know a little bit about data. When they send out their email, what do? They capitalize that first word. They use brackets. They put it all right in the front of that subject line. That's what gets the attention. Every time you hit send, you're saying to yourself, okay, what am I doing? What am I going to do in this email to make my email stand out and not everybody else is going out at the same time? What am I going to do in this email? Every email is an opportunity to test something, and that's the attitude. So we talk about emojis, right? You're probably tuned out. You're like, I'm not doing an emoji. Emoji's stupid. My teenage kids send me emojis and it's embarrassing. No, if emojis were called business icons, we'd be using them in every type of marketing that we could possibly be doing. Right? When I get an email from Oracle and I'm debating between Oracle and Salesforce for which CRM solution I want to use, do I say, you know what? I was going to go with Oracle, but because they had a baseball in their subject line, I'm not going to do it because that's not professional. No, what really happens is for the first time, I actually see this email because it stood out. And it's all about that millisecond when we're going down our inbox. What catches our attention to get us open? Nobody's consciously thinking about what's in your subject line, like, you know what? That's an awesome subject line. I'm going to open it up because that subject line was great. Nobody does that. It catches our attention. We decide instantly whether or not we're going to open it up, and we do. And yes, emojis seem stupid, but they're up 1,700% in use in B2B email marketing in the last 18 months, because now 94% of all receiving email networks can view emojis and render them perfectly on the B2B side. It's great. So I don't care if you're targeting, IT professionals like Linux Academy, or you're any of these marketers, right? B2B email marketing and emojis is great. You have something, it's a webinar, you want to put that calendar emoji, great. There's a million different emojis you could test out. And I know it sounds stupid. I'm not telling you to be like Domino's, right? Domino's is over the top, but you know what? They get my attention. I'm not telling you to go this far, and I'm not telling you to be like Wayfair, who's completely bananas, right? But their emails stand out. I am telling you to think about it. Right, here's Marketing Profs. They're one of the leading organizations on the planet to teach us how to do B2B, specifically B2B email marketing, and they use emojis all the time. Why? Because it stands out. So these are the emojis, and I'll get off the emoji train. In the last 30 days that you put in your subject line, and it will lift your open rates, how many people are opening up your email for business-to-business email offers. It's worth testing. All this is about testing. Okay, if I put out 20 ideas and 5 of them work, you may say that guy Jay stinks and he's terrible. But now you have 5 new things that can give you a lift, right? So let's talk about other little things that have an impact. The idea of 101. 101 is such a fantastic thing, and it's doing really well in the last few months. What do I mean by 101? When I say the words 101 to you, what do they mean? They mean that this is going to be basically a basic intro about certain information. And why is that a beautiful thing in your world specifically? A lot of what you're promoting is a product that has a lot of specifics to it, in a category that has a lot of specifics to it. And whoever you're marketing to, the pharmacy owner, the pharmacy manager, the pharmacist, or whoever it may be, should they know everything there is to know about the topic that you are emailing about? Yeah, they should know it. Do they? Probably not. Do they feel like they should know? Yeah, they probably feel like they should know. So here's the game, and why 101 does well for so many different types of marketers. And you'll see it now when you go back to your inbox. Why does it do so well? Because you're telling them, and you have to mention 101 in the subject line, increase open rates by 31%. You're basically saying, hey, we're going to give you the information on this topic that we know you should know, but that you don't really know, but we're not going to tell anybody you don't know, and now you will know, and that's a win, right? You are helping them with information they feel like a little embarrassed that they don't already know, and that's why it does so well. So great. It's a great little test. Now, another big topic everybody loves to talk about is we are sending out too much email, right? It's always the reason. Why is our email not doing well? We're sending out too much email. If we send out less, our emails will do better. No, I will tell you, you're sending out too little amount of email. You're not sending enough. Now, somewhere out there, someone's laughing and saying, there's no way that dude knows how much we're sending, because if he knew how much we were sending, he would say we're sending out too much. And I'm going to tell you, it's not true. Now, first off, it's never about how much you're sending. What's the right number? It's about, are you sending out relevant stuff? Is what you are sending relevant? If it's relevant, you could send me an email every single day, twice a day. I don't care, because it's relevant. I get upset when it's garbage. Now, the game has changed, though, in terms of when you have an offer that you're trying to promote to an audience. Okay, most marketers will be like, "Oh, I sent it out twice, and that's it." That's not what marketers are really doing now. Believe it or not, sending out when you have an offer of any kind, if you send it out, the optimal number, believe it or not, is 5 times over a 2-week period. You're like, whoa, that is mega annoying. 5 times. When you send out 5 times over a 2-week period, increase your click rate by 150%. Now, even if you don't send out 5, let's say you send it out 4. If you're not sending it out at least 3 times, you're crazy for a particular offer. Here's Salesforce. They're literally sending out 3 days in a row. Same creative, same subject line, same everything. I personally would change the subject line. To me, the perfect scenario for any email is really like a 4-time touch for an offer. The first email you send out over a 2-week period, you're introducing the offer. Let's say it's Tuesday. Hey, we got this great new offer, okay? Then on Thursday of that week, you send out another email and say, hey, I don't want you to miss out. That's the subject line. Then the next week, let's say the offer expires on Thursday. On Wednesday, you're sending out, hey, you're going to miss out on this thing. And then Thursday, this is your last chance. 4 times over 2 weeks, optimal. And this is what marketers are doing more and more. They're sending out, instead of sending out an email 2 times over 3 days, a lot of marketers now are sending it 3 times in a row over 3 days. When you send out an email 3 times in a row over 3 days versus 2 times, you're seeing an increased response rate of 31%. Now you're saying that's annoying. You're saying that's too much. But here's the reality. On average, how many people are opening up your emails? Let's say on average, you get a 25% open rate on your emails. Maybe it's higher, maybe it's lower, whatever. But what's really happening is 75% of the people you're emailing are not opening it up at all. They don't care. They didn't see it. They're not thinking about you. And don't send it out at the same time of day. If you send out one email at 10 a.m., send the next time out at 2 p.m. Why? Because different people open email at different times. Sending an offer email at the same time each day is useless because you're trying to expose it to as many different people as possible, and you need to cater to the way that people check their email. And different people look at email at different times of the day. I got this email the other day. It said, are 3 touches enough to engage the modern buyer? I was like, oh, this is interesting because I'm all about how many touches, 3, 4, 5. And then I got it 4 times, which made me laugh because they said, is 3 enough? And clearly 3 was not enough. So anyway, the moral to that very long, boring story is don't be afraid. Here's what's going on. You're afraid because here's what happens when we start to send out more email. When you start to send out more email, what happens? You start to get, uh-oh, we got unsubscribes. We got people saying, take me off the list. We actually got a few nasty grams. What's a nasty gram? It's that email that you get in where they go, ooh, you're horrible. This email is illegal. You're a spammer. You're a horrible person. You should go to spam jail. I hate you. That's a nasty. So what do? That gets sent around to the organization. All the higher ups get it. So what do? Oh my God, stop sending. We're sending too much. Do something because we got 2 nasty grams, right? Everybody stop, freeze. That's what we do. We react. Why? Why do we do that? Okay, these 2 people that send in these bizarro nasty grams. First of all, whoever sends those emails are very strange, okay? They're having other problems in their life to be that reactive to an email, okay? You can't change your marketing programs because of this random person reacting like that. Now, here's the kicker. You're saying, well, they're reacting like that for a reason. No, they're not reacting for the reason that you think. Unsubscribes are not a bad thing. Unsubscribes are good things. Spam complaints, different button, bad. Spam complaints are bad. They hurt your deliverability. Unsubscribes do not hurt your deliverability at all. What do I mean by that? Okay, first of all, I got this the other day. Unsubscribe from cat facts. I don't have a cat. I don't even know why I got this. I don't know why I'm on the list. I didn't unsubscribe, which is even weirder. But that doesn't matter, okay? When people unsubscribe, first off, from a technical perspective, what are they doing? In order to unsubscribe from an email, they need to receive the email. They then need to open the email, and then they need to click on something in the email. All of that is actually engagement. An open and click are engagement. They actually help your deliverability, which is ironic. And you're taking off somebody off your list who doesn't want to be on your list anyway. They're a boat anchor. They're never going to respond. Now, why are they unsubscribing? They're not unsubscribing because you're sending too much. No. They're unsubscribing for one of 2 reasons. One, you did something awesome. You tested an emoji in the subject line. You tested capitalization. You tested something awesome in the subject line, different time of day. And for the first time in forever, you stood out. Oh my God, I didn't even know I was still on this list. I'm on this list? Oh, I see it for the first time. Uh-oh, I got a new job. Oh, I don't have that role anymore. I'm not in charge of that. I'm no longer interested in that, but I saw it. I'm going to take myself off the list. It doesn't pertain to me anymore. So you stood out. which is why you got the unsubscribe. Why else you get unsubscribe? Because sometimes in life, what do? We go, oh my God, I need to go on a diet immediately, take everything out of my refrigerator. I don't take out, one thing out of my refrigerator. I take everything out, starting over. And same thing with email. When you unsubscribe, do you unsubscribe from one thing? No, I'm unsubscribed from 7 things. My inbox is just too full. I need to unsubscribe from 7 things. They're not thinking about, oh yeah, we got one more email. We got one more email from that sender. Let's unsubscribe. Nobody does that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about anything, ever. It's the world. That is the world. Anyway, I know. I'm just all over the place. Welcome to my world. More tips way too fast. Let's keep on going. The last 60 days, okay, these are the offers. On the left-hand side is consumer. On the right-hand side is the B2B offers. These are the offers, right, that are generating the biggest lift right now. So we talked about lists and checklists. We talked about free guides and white papers, watch now. And then we talked about all the ones that are dropping, right? So these are the offers that are doing the best right now in terms of offers. So it's good to know. And we'll get you this deck, obviously. Another one that's doing really well is tips. The word tips in the subject line. Why is tips doing so well, increasing awareness by 21%? Why? 4 tips for this, 7 tips for that. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy to digest, easy to create, right? That's all we want is quick, rapid fire stuff. This is an interesting one. Negative outcome subject lines are doing really well, right? Anything where you're saying, don't make this mistake. You don't want to miss this, and you don't want to make this mistake. When you get an email and says, don't make the same mistake, blah, 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 or 10 common mistakes, whatever, you're like, oh my God, I want to know what I'm about to screw up so I can avoid screwing up. This lifts open rates by 31%. Doesn't matter what you're promoting, you could have a negative outcome email. Now, a lot of you are saying, listen, I can't do this. I'm promoting like a foot fungus medication or something that helps people that have some sort of serious ailment or affliction or what. I can't talk like that. I can't do. Why? Because you think that everybody is walking around in a suit and tie and that we're living in the 1950s. We're not. Okay, we're human beings, right? We're human beings. We react to the same things. And that is why your emails may be being held back because you're trying too hard to be super boring. You are being very effective at being super boring. Congratulations. Now, a few other things that do really well. When you send out an email, inside the email, you have a big image. It's the primary image in the email, right? It's showing the thing, whatever the thing is. And then the person clicks through and they go to a destination page on your site, wherever. You want to have that same primary image show up as the primary image on that destination page. When you do that, your overall response rate goes up by 29%. Why? Because we're a very simple-minded species. We get nervous. We don't say it out loud. We don't even think about it, but we do. When we click on something and we go to a page and we don't see the same thing from what we clicked on, we're less likely to respond. It's the easiest thing in the world. You take the same hero image, you put it on the destination page, you put it in a really prominent place, boom, response rate. These little things add up in a big way. I get asked about this a lot. Can I put a video in my email? Ooh, great idea. Don't do that. Why? Why don't do that? Don't do that because when you put a video in an email, what happens? You radically increase the size of your email, and that will hurt your deliverability. Don't do that. So you have a video you want to promote. Here's the way you promote video and email. It's real simple. Works every time. You take a picture, boom, of the video, right? And then you make an image of that one picture, the start of your video, but a big red play button right there in the middle of it, right? And then when you send out the email, what's the person going to do? They are going to click the play button. Why? Because we are trained like dogs. We see that right. You probably want to reach into the screen and press it now. Okay, you press that button, you go to the landing page, you see the same picture, you hit play, life is grand, and it all works. Emails that show the play button for video content versus just saying, hey, come watch this video. When it shows that big red play button, it increases click-through rates by 34%, and you have no deliverability problems. This is how we do video and email. Okay, day of. What does that even mean? What that means is a lot of times marketers are not thinking about promoting on the day of the offer expiring. It's the most important day. Humanity, we don't care. I keep saying we don't care about anything because we really don't. I mean, 2 weeks from now, the news cycle will be different. We won't care about what we talked about today. We don't care about 2 weeks. It's unbelievable, okay? If we found aliens on Mars today, I am convinced in 2 weeks, we would barely be talking about it. It's just the way it is, okay? So when do we care about things? We care about rocket ships right before they take off. We care about birthdays, maybe if we see on Facebook that day, that's a big fat maybe. And we care about email offers that are expiring within a few hours. That's when we care. So last chance email offers that are sent the day of, that same day, if it's sent within 6 hours of your event occurring or your offer ending, you have an increased response rate of 31% versus not doing a day of send. It's the easiest win in the book. Why? Because you know what? We're like, oh, yeah, I got time for that. Yep, I got time for that. That's how we function. That is how we function, right? We don't care. If you promote 2 weeks, who cares? I don't know what's happening in 2 weeks. I don't even know what today's date is. I'm not kidding. Nobody knows what's going on. I saw this the other day from Ann Hanley. Ann Hanley, love Ann. She's a good friend of mine. She's also one of the most well-known B2B marketers on the planet. You should follow her. She's great. And she put this out on her Twitter. She wrote, your from line matters more than your subject line. Whoa, your from line matters more than your subject line. And she wrote, this is the single biggest thing I've learned in 2.5 decades as a marketer. That is a massive statement. And let me explain to you what she's talking about. And this tip, if you test nothing else, I want you to think about testing this because this is the easiest thing to do. Most marketers are not thinking about it, and it has the biggest impact on performance. Okay, so bear with me for a second. You think that you know what I'm about to say, but it's a little bit different. When I email you, okay, my email address is that letter J Schwedelson at corpwd.com. That's my email address. But when I email you and it shows up in your inbox, what does it show up? So it's J Schwedelson. Nice, because I set the friendly from or the alias to be my name. And I'm sure right now when you send an email out, you send up you have an email address that it comes from, and you set up your friendly from to be your company name, your product name, whatever it is. Fine. We all do that. So what's the game? What's the big deal? The big deal is this, and this stat is hard to understand. I'm going to show you examples. Friendly from addresses that match the topic of the subject line offer have an increased open rate of 31%. What does that actually mean? When you set up an email campaign, every time you set up an email campaign, you can change the friendly from. You're not changing your email address. This doesn't impact deliverability. It's a creative writing contest. You can make the friendly from, that alias, on your email address that does not change, whatever you want it to be, okay? And the way to win is for when eMarketer sends out their thing, it doesn't just say eMarketer. It says that this email happens to be about a webinar. It says eMarketer webinars. You know, when Salesforce sends out their thing, it says Salesforce events, right? This is how you win, right? So when Gap sends out their email, it could just say Gap, but this is a back to school offer. So they write Gap, back to school. The next email they send out is probably about cargo shorts. Maybe it's a sale, Gap sale. Use the friendly from essentially as the start of your subject line. Delineate it, whether it's a new product announcement, Acme, new product announcement, special offer, discount, time's running out. I don't care. Use that friendly from. It establishes immediate relevance and allows for a dramatic increase in sending volume. Why do I say that? Because you don't get annoyed. Like Apple, on an everyday basis, I get an email from the App Store, from Apple TV, from their regular store. I don't sit there and say, oh, Apple sent me 4 emails today. No, because to me, it's 4 different things. So when you send out 3 emails, right, and one is about a new webinar, and you say it in the from, and then another one's about a special sale, a new product announcement as a recipient, and I'm not like, whoa, I'm getting a lot of emails. No, I'm saying these are different things, so I'm not annoyed. So you could send out more, right, about whatever the topic is, right? And you see all these examples here. You could do whatever you want. It does not change deliverability. And there is not a platform on earth, a sending platform, that you don't have the ability to change this in under 10 seconds, and it costs you $0. Okay, $0. So when you send out 3 emails per week from 3 different friendly from addresses versus 3 emails per week from 1 friendly from address, when you do it from 3, it increases your open rate by 41%. When you talk about all the crazy stuff that we've been talking about today, right? It's easy. It's easy to get your open rate up. So let me give you a few free things. We'll see if there are any questions. So my company, we have a calendar that we put out. The best and worst days to send out your email campaigns. Green days are days at optimal performance. Red days are days that may not be so great. We just updated it for the second half of the year. We have a B2B calendar for business marketers and a consumer one. If you like the calendar, you just email me, say, send me the calendar, and I'll send you. It's totally for free. It's electronic. It's cool. I have a newsletter called Scoop, where every 2 weeks or so I put out stats and information. It's not promotional. If you want to be a part of that newsletter, just say add me to Scoop. And 2 other things, subjectline.com, free website. You should check it out. It's vision of my company. And we launched something new, which I hope you guys can all make it. We are putting on a massive free virtual email marketing conference. It's a 2-day event in November. It's called Guru Conference. You can go to guruconference.com to register. We are expecting 10,000 people. We already have over 5,000 registrants. When we hit 10,000, we got to cut it off. It's free to attend. It's 2 days, 35 speakers. I'm going to be there. Lots of people are going to be there. Damon John's going to be there. It's going to be very, very cool. Now, if you want all of this stuff, you could just email me, say, sign me up for Guru, blah, 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 whatever, all this stuff. And all you have to do is email me, jays@corpwd.com, and I will write me, send me everything, and I'll get you signed up for all this stuff. I appreciate you hearing me babble on here for a little while. And now let's see if there's any questions that anybody has. I'm going to pause my share. All right, here I am. I'll put my info in the chat too. All right.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes for any questions, so you can add them right to the Q&A.
I know that was a lot of, that was a fire hose. Let's see, what do we got? What about, I got a question here. You want me to read it out? I guess I'll fire it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Kristen asked a question, what about for newsletter type emails where we share industry tips and tricks? How long should they be? So great question, Kristen. How long should they be? Ideally, you know, there's 2 different populations of people. Whenever you send out anything, you have people that care about you and people that don't. People that care about you are ongoing customers. With them, you could send out more information, right? With people that are either prospects or not current customers yet, you really want to keep it even more concise, less information. What we have found is in any type of digest or newsletter information type emails, anything after the 4th piece of content almost never gets digested. The first 4 do, and then after 4, it drops off precipitously. So that's kind of something I would keep in the back of your mind. Good question. So Dustin asked one, what about scrubbing lists to remove people who don't open? Great question. So anybody who has not opened or clicked on one of your emails in over 24 months, really it's 18 months, but over 24 months, the likelihood of them opening or clicking on one of your emails is so incredibly low. And it's hurting your ability to have good deliverability into the inbox, junk, and all that different type of stuff. What I would recommend doing is taking that database of those people, taking the companies or businesses that they're at, stripping out their domains, whatever, and then doing targeted promotions to try to get the right contact at those businesses, because clearly whoever you have is probably not that person, and just keeping them as part of your ongoing sense is hurting you. So I'm not saying throw them out, but clearly there's no reason to keep emailing them at all. So then Michelle asked a question, does your friendly from, does it need to include your business name? So it doesn't need to include your business name. Does the friendly from need to include your business name? It should include something that the person will be able to identify you as. It could be your business, it could be a product or service that you have. If you make it completely, it just says new offer or new product, and you try to almost trick people, that's where things get a little bit dicey. So I would include some form of identification so they know. And it could also be a person's name, right? It could be a person that they may know. It doesn't have to be a brand or a product. Should I keep on ripping through these?
You want to answer one more? I think Kristen asked another question.
Okay, sure. Blah, blah, blah. What is your opinion about deleting competitors from your list? You know, the question is, should you delete competitors from your list? Me personally, I used to play the game where I was nervous. I'm being real honest, I'm very transparent, not just about email, but about on social media and stuff. I would say about 2 years ago, I said, you know what? I'm done trying to be very specific about what I say because I'm nervous about who might hear this, that, or whatever. And so I'm just going to let it rip. I'm going to let it rip wherever I am, whatever I'm talking about, whatever. And for me personally, I will tell you, it radically changed my interactions with businesses and whatnot, and my everything across the board went up because what I've learned is that your competitors know what you're doing anyway, right? You're not. I mean, you're not splitting the atom, right? Your competitors know what you're doing, and it takes a lot of energy to try to not let them see what's happening. So if you want to make you feel better, yeah, take them off your list. But in reality, just don't waste your energy. You have bigger fish to fry, and that's at least in my opinion.
Thank you so much, Jay. I know I learned a lot. I'm sure everyone else did. Thank you all for attending, and we will be sending out more information about our next webinar in the series shortly. And until then, touch base with Jay, get that newsletter, email calendar. I have it all and I use it probably every day.
So nice. Well, thank you everyone for having me. It's really nice to get to know you all. Please hit me up on LinkedIn. I love to connect with everybody. I share a lot of stuff there.
Great. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.